When I finished my master's degree in mathematics, I wanted to find a job where I could apply my new skills. I liked graphing data and explaining things with a picture. But a picture in today's big data world can too often mislead and misinform. In this video blog, I want to share with you a couple of examples of how big companies are using big data in ways that too often can hurt defenseless people. And I want to explain how we all can get better at fighting back. And when I say all, I mean anyone with a smartphone as well as software developers. In 1973, when I completed that degree in math, the job market wasn't good for what I wanted to do. So I ended up accepting a job as a computer programmer in the defense industry. And although I loved my time as a software developer, still I longed for the opportunity to apply my math skills, or I should say an opportunity where I could better apply my math skills. So when the opportunity did arise in 1995, I jumped at it, starting my own company where I got involved in data modeling and data analytics. And I explicitly call out both of those because they're not the same thing, and understanding the distinction is critical to understanding the big data problem we all face. Today, many companies use big data to model and predict all kinds of things, supposedly to benefit humanity and make our lives easier. But the question I want you to think about is, are they really making your life easier, or are they misleading us to benefit themselves and possibly a few high-paying clients? So now, let me share a couple of examples, and then I will explain how we all can get better at fighting back. In her book, Weapons of Math Destruction, and yes, that is math, M-A-T-H, Kathy O'Neill, who holds a PhD in mathematics, tells a number of stories about big companies that misuse big data in order to misinform while at the same time selling it as the truth. One of the examples she uses is the well-known U.S. News and World Report annual college ranking. Now, the intent was certainly good, to help prospective students pick the best college to attend. But you have to ask a question. Who should be deciding the criteria when looking at the best college for you or one of your kids to go to? Initially, they hid the criteria from the general public, and all the Ivy League schools ended up on top. But what they didn't share was the fact that cost wasn't a criteria they used, which might be an important factor when picking a college to go to or when picking one for one of your kids. And when they finally did release the criteria, something else interesting happened. A number of the colleges started gaming the system. One college, when they learned that the SAT scores for incoming freshmen were part of the criteria, actually paid new incoming freshmen to retake the exam so it could raise up their ranking. And another school just sent false data in, which actually did work, as their ranking quickly moved up from 50th to 30th place. As another example, O'Neill tells the story of a Washington, D.C. area teacher who had great reviews from colleagues, parents, and her supervisor, but lost her job due to a new automated teacher evaluation scoring system, which was put in place to remove human bias. Now think about that. I mean, I get the fact that humans sometimes lose objectivity. But let me tell you a little bit more about this story. When they dug into the data, they found out that the main criteria used was student test scores. And in fact, the students of this teacher, their scores had gone down from the previous year when they had a different teacher. But when they dug even deeper into the data, they found an unusually large number of erasures of answers in the previous year's tests. And it seems the teacher from the previous year had actually corrected wrong answers of her students so that she could get a higher rating. Crazy, isn't it? So now let's look at how we all can get better at fighting back. First, if you've watched my previous video blogs on how to get better at anything, you've probably already guessed that the first step is to put a signal in your head, a warning sign. In this case, the warning sign is if anybody shows you a picture or a data model and makes a claim that doesn't make sense to you, don't just accept it. Pictures or data models by themselves can be made to say anything. Keep in mind that a computer or a computer algorithm doesn't know if the data that's given to it is accurate or if it's the right data to be used for the claim that's being made. So the next step is to start asking questions, such as, where did this data come from? How did you validate it to make sure that it's accurate? And if the data doesn't seem relevant to the claim that's being made, challenge it. You know, in our Washington, D.C. teacher case, what they really wanted to measure was teacher effectiveness. But that's not easy to measure. So they measured something else. They measured student test scores. This is what companies do. When they don't know how to measure something, they measure something else, and then they build a false argument. You don't need to fall for this. This is if you're a software developer, by the way, you should keep aware of where the software you're building could be misused and be ready to alert the potential users of your product. This is also why I distinguish between data modeling and data analytics. Analytics means analysis. It means reasoning. It means using the logical part of your brain to figure out what's really going on when things don't smell right. And you don't have to be a computer wizard or a software wizard or a math wizard to do just that. And if you're wondering how to get better at using the logical part of your brain to figure out what's going on, that's the subject of my next video blog. My approach to getting better at anything is based on the Essence thinking framework. One checklist item in the framework relevant to this video blog's discussion is communication is open and honest. If you're a software developer, one question you might ask yourself is my company being open and honest with the users of our product? Another checklist item relevant to this video blog is reason to develop a solution understood. And a question we all might ask ourselves is, do we understand the reasons we're interacting with any software product? And even more importantly, is that product going to make our lives better? Essence checklists are not check-the-box checklists. They were developed to help stimulate team conversation, to help make all of our lives better.